Yeah. So let us start with prayers. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Juta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha Namam Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschat Deshatarine Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gauratishe Namaha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandhu Jagatpate Gopesh Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastate तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिय नीलाचल निवासाय नित्याय परमात्मने बलभद्र सुभद्राभ्यां जगन्नाथाय ते नमः पंचकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे मुखं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुदिनतारिणं परमानन्दमाधवं श्रीचैतन्य ईश्वरं हरि ओं तत्सत् नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते जयपताका स्वामिनिति नामिने नमो आचार्यपादाय निताय कृपाप्रदायिने गौरकथाधामदाय नगरग्रामतारिणे हरे कृष्णा. So we will start from 2.41 today. Before that, I would like to recap. So in the first chapter, these were the four arguments of Arjuna: compassion, no enjoyment, sinful reactions, and destruction of the dynasty. You know very well what are the explanations. What does this mean? And in the second chapter, seventh verse, there is another reason given by Arjuna that I am not able to decide. Indecision. Karpanya doshopahata swabhava prichhami tvam dharma sammudha cheta yat shreyasan nishchitam bruhi tanme shishya sneham sadhimam tvam prapannam. So these are the five reasons. So now Krishna is refuting one by one. The first argument was compassion. So that is refuted in second chapter in the section 11 to 30, where Sankhya Yoga or Jnana Yoga is discussed. So in this section, the distinction between body and soul and all these things are described. So, and we also saw that Arjuna was put into a two-way thing, fork-like thing. So Krishna was telling that if you consider yourself on the platform of the soul, then there is no cause of lamentation. And also, if you are considering yourself to be a materialistic person who does not believe in the existence of the soul, who only knows about this body is a lump of chemicals, then also you should not lament, because who laments for lump of chemicals? So I expect you everyone that please note down these important points, like this uh, these important summaries, like in the first chapter what were the arguments, and in which verses in second chapter Krishna defeats, how Krishna defeats. You should know all these things. So this is the Sankhya Yoga section, and also here this compassion argument is defeated. Then next section comes 31 to 37, Sakam Karma Yoga, where Krishna is telling that if your goal is to enjoy, then you can enjoy more by doing your prescribed duty. So do your prescribed duty, and by that thing you can enjoy more. So that no enjoyment argument is also defeated. And then from 38 to 53. So this section we are discussing now, Buddhi Yoga or Niskam Karma Yoga. So Krishna is saying work in a detached manner. In that manner, you will not incur sinful activities because you are working with detachment. So that section we are discussing. And then Neha Vikramana Swasti, this verse we covered, that whatever progress we make in Krishna consciousness, that is permanent. If we end in this lifetime up to 20%, in the next lifetime we will start from 21%. So now also another thing we discussed, that why Prabhupada often translates Karma Yoga as devotional service. So the point is We had long discussion on this, that a devotee understands the heart of Krishna. So Prabhupada does so because an ordinary person of Kali Yuga who is having less patience, if he reads one purport also, he should get the essence of Bhagavad Gita. Because the first 6 chapters are like Krishna is showing, see Arjuna, you can go through this path also, this path also, this path also. And then later on Krishna says this path 1 has full of thorns, and this path 2 has so many dangerous animals, and this path 3 is very good to reach me. But now an ordinary person with less patience, a Kali Yuga person, prayan alpayusha sabhya kalo asmin juge jana manda sumanda matayor manda bhaggahi upadruta. So like that kind of person, he will not have enough patience to read through the whole Bhagavad Gita. And if he reads also, he will forget so many things. And this is very difficult for a Kali Yuga person to extract the essence of Bhagavad Gita. That is why Srila Prabhupada, out of his mercy, is giving the essence of Bhagavad Gita in every purport. So that is why he is telling us about devotional service. Right? So with this understanding, we will proceed from verse number 41. Vyavasayatmika buddhirekeha kuru nandana bahusakha hyanantascha buddhayo vyavasayinam. Those who are on this path are resolute in purpose, and their aim is one. O beloved child of the Kurus, the intelligence of those who are irresolute is many branched. So here Prabhupada is quoting Shraddha Shabda Vishwas Kaya Shudra Nischay Krishna Bhakti Kaile Sarva Karma Krita Hai. That means if I know that I am a devotee of Krishna and I have complete faith on this, then my intelligence will not be diverted. I will not be doing so many things. I will be only taking shelter of Krishna. So my intelligence will be resolute in purpose. So that is the nature of someone who is a true devotee and who is a true yogi. Then this is a very nice verse. Jamimam pushpitam vacham pravadyanti abhipaschitam vedavarata partha nanyad ashiti vadinam कर्मत्मना स्वर्गपरा जन्म कर्म फलप्रदम क्रिया विशेष बाहुलम भोगैश्वर्या गतिम प्रतीम. Men of small knowledge are very much attached to the flowery words of the Vedas, which recommend various fruitive activities for elevation to heavenly planets, resultant good birth, power, and so forth. Being desirous of sense gratification and opulent life, they say that there is nothing more than this. So now in this verse, Krishna is telling, you see, this term is very important. Jamimam puspitam vacham. Puspa means flowers, and puspitam vacham means flowery words. So Krishna is telling the words of the Vedas are flowery. So we know that Vedas are coming from the Supreme Lord, it is Apurusha. But here Krishna is criticizing the Vedas. Krishna is telling Arjuna, Vedas are full of flowery languages. They give you ways to gratify your senses in a means justified or authorized manner. If a person gratifies his senses, so generally he will commit sinful activities. But Vedas give us justified way of sense gratification. But Krishna is criticizing this because sense gratification is not good. Sense gratification separates one from reaching the Supreme Personality of Godhead. It restricts one from going back to Godhead. So that is why Krishna is here criticizing the Vedas. And a similar incident you can find in Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, from chapter number 4 to 6. You can see that Narad Muni, the spiritual master of Srila Vyasadeva, is heavily chastising Vyasadeva for writing all these Vedas, where indirectly different means of sense gratification are mentioned. So, Vedas are very vast, and there are so many things like how can you become, if you want wealth, do this, if you want fame, do this. So, there is prescription for every material desire in the Vedas. Because Vyasadeva was thinking that people generally will not be so much attracted to worshipping Krishna. So let me attract them by some material opulences. But in turn, he received a very strong chastisement from his spiritual master Narada Muni for doing so. So Narad Muni says that what is the value of uh, having a material opulences? त्यक्ता सधर्मं चरणम्बुजं हरेर्भजन्न पक्कोऽथ पतेत्ततो यदि यत्र क्वा भद्रमभूदमुष्य किं को वर्थ अप्त भजतं सधर्मतम्. So he is telling that what is the value of all these things? If one is materially advanced also, at the moment of death, everything will be destroyed. So what is the value? And if one is spiritually elevated but materially he is not opulent, then what is the loss? That spiritual credit will last eternally. In the previous sloka also we discussed that. Neha vikramana asusti prattavayona vidyate. So Narad Muni here criticizes chastisely. And he also says that all these things where the glorification of Krishna is not there, it is just like pilgrimage of crows. Hmm. न यद्वाचश्चित्रपदं हरेर्जशो जगत्पवित्रं प्रगिनीतकर्हिचित्. So najadvachas harer jasho. Hare means Hari. So harer jasho means the glorification of Hari. Those literatures who does not depict the glorification of Lord Hari, that glorification of Lord Hari alone, Jagat Pavitram Praginita Karihichit, that only can purify the whole material existence. Tadvayasham tirtham ushanti manasa najatra hamsa niramantu shikshaya. That Vayasham tirtham, Vayasha means crows. So such literatures which does not depict the glories of Krishna, those glories of Krishna who only can purify this material existence. If some literature is devoid of such glorification, then that literature is Bayasham Tirtham or the pilgrimage of the crows. That means it is dustbin, because dustbin is the pilgrimage of the crows. Najatra Hamsa Niramanti Ashikshaya. That means the Hamsa or Paramhamsa devotees, they never take pleasure in reading such literature. On the other hand, Tadvag Visargo Janata Ghaviplagvo Jasmin Prati Shlokamavadhyavatyapim नामान्यनन्तस्य जशोऽङ्कितानि यत् शृण्वन्ति गायन्ति गृह्णन्ति साधव तद्वाग् विसर्गो जनताः विप्लुगो जस्मिन् प्रतिश्लोकमवद्यवत्यपि नामानि अनन्तस्य यशोऽङ्कितानि यत्. Such literatures which is full of namani anantasya yashonkitani yat, such literatures which are full of glorification of Lord's names and Lord's pastimes qualities, such literatures, even if there are so many grammatical mistakes, Jasmin Prati Slokam Avadhyavattavi. If every slok of such literature which is depicting the glories of Lord's name, if such literature is faulty, every sloka is faulty also, then also it is acceptable to the sadhus. Srinvanti Gayanti Grinanti Sadhava. On the other hand, a literature which is very well structured and there is flawless, but it is not describing the glories of Hari, it is like dustbin. So by such strong words, this Narad Muni is chastising Vyasadev. Same thing. So the devotee and Lord are aligned always. So we can see Krishna is also telling the same thing, that these Vedas are flowery language, reject them. In the slok number 45, so Krishna will tell that Arjuna, rise beyond the level of Vedas. Because Vedas encourage sense gratification, and that sense gratification is very dangerous. In this sloka it is mentioned. वगैश्वर्य प्रसक्तानां तया प्रहीतचेतसं व्यवसायत्मिका बुद्धि समाधौ न विधीयते. In the minds of those who are too attached to sense enjoyment and material opulence, and who are bewildered by such things, the resolute determination for devotional service to the Supreme Lord does not take place. So the sense gratification actually distracts us from the service of the Supreme Lord. And the Vedas encourage such sense gratification. Therefore, what you should do? You just reject these Vedas. त्रैगुण्य विषयो वेदा निस्त्रैगुण्य भवार्जुन निर्द्वंद नित्य सत्तस्थो निर्योगक्षेम आत्मवन. The Vedas deal mainly with the subject of three modes of material nature. Three modes of material nature, that means material existence. O Arjuna, become transcendental to these three modes, be free from all dualities and from all anxieties for gain and safety, and be established in the self. So be free from all dualities. Nistraigunna Bhavarjuna. Vedas mainly deal with three modes, but you have to become Nistraigunna or transcendental. Then it means that you cannot do that by accepting the path given in the Vedas. So you should accept Srimad Bhagavatam. We should not accept the Vedas because Vedas are very indirect path. It will take crores of lifetimes to get to the right conclusion if we follow the path given in the Vedas. यावनर्थ उदापाने सर्वथा संप्रतोदके तावन सर्वेषु वेदेषु ब्रह्मणस्य विजानत. All purposes served by small well can at once be served by great reservoir of water. Similarly, all the purposes of the Vedas can be served to one who knows the purpose behind them. So, all the purpose of the Vedas can be served to one who knows the purpose behind them. The purpose is become a devotee of the Supreme Lord. And Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam teaches us. That is why Bhagavad Gita is called Sarvopanishado Gava Dugdha Gopala Nandana Partha Vatsa Sudhir Bhukta Dugdham Grita Mitam Mahat. So Sarva Upanishado Gavo. Gita is the essence of all Upanishad and Vedas because Bhagavad Gita speaks of devotional service, the ultimate conclusion. Sarva Dharman Parityajya Mamikam Saranang Braja. Srimad Bhagavatam also does this. So here it is said that like if you have a bigger reservoir of water, then all the smaller reservoirs of water you don't need. Like if you have 2000 rupee note, within that 10 rupee, 20 rupee, 50 rupee, 100 rupee, 500 rupee, everything is included. So similarly, if you read this Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam and imbibe the teachings, you don't need any other literature. And even in the Srimad Bhagavatam, it is mentioned in the second verse, Dharma projita kaitavatra paramo nirmatsaranam satam vedyam vastavamatra vastu sivadam taputrayan moolanam Srimad Bhagavate Mahamunikrite kimba parei ishvara Shabdyo Ridyavarudyate Trikritivi Shushushu Vistatshanat. So it is mentioned that Dharma projita kaitavatra paramo nirmatsaranam satam. So it says that there is no place for kaitav dharma or lower religions like dharma, artha, kama, moksha in Srimad Bhagavatam. Srimad Bhagavatam is for the nirmatsaranam satam or the non-envious devotees, and it only speaks about the param purushartha or bhakti. And then it is says that Vedyam Vastava Matra Vastu Sivadam Tapo Trayan Mulanam. One who takes the shelter of Srimad Bhagavatam, it brings all auspiciousness to one's life and one gets rid of the threefold miseries. Adi Atmik Klesha, Adi Dvaivik Klesha and Adi Bhautik Klesha. Tapotrayan Mulanam Srimad Bhagavate Mahamuni Krite. This Srimad Bhagavatam is compiled by Mahamuni Vyasadeva. Kimba Pare Ishvara. What more do you need? If you have Srimad Bhagavatam, the same thing here it is mentioned. What more do you need if you have Gita and Bhagavatam? They are the all essence of the whole scriptures. Kimba Pari Ishvara. Shadyo Riddhi Avarudhyatetra Kritivi Shushushu Vistatsanat. By reading Srimad Bhagavatam, in past, present, and future, many people will get delivered immediately. Then what more do you need? Like in a lecture of Amanandra Prabhu, he was also explaining the same point and he gave a wonderful analogy. Like you want to go from this place to that place and you have one vehicle and you can reach very quickly from this place to that place. If you have that, suppose you have one motorbike and you can reach from here to here, then why do you need 1000 motorbikes? With one motorbike you can reach from this place to that place. So similarly, from this by Srimad Bhagavatam you can be transported to this world, to spiritual world. This Srimad Bhagavatam is enough, and Srimad Bhagavatam is the continuation of this Bhagavad Gita. In Bhagavad Gita, chapter number 18, text number 66, the point of surrender comes. Sarva dharman parityaja mamekam saranam braja. And Srimad Bhagavatam starts from that point of surrender. Dharma projita kaitavatra paramo nirmat saranam satam. Leave all kinds of lower religions and accept this Bhagavata Dharma. So these Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, they are like bigger reservoirs. If we read them, we don't need any other literature. Therefore, Srila Prabhupada had so many options, but Srila Prabhupada only focused on these translations. These are the most important things. If one knows this, we don't need other things actually. Sometimes devotees say, where should I get Padma Puran? Where should I get Baraha Puran? Where should I get Rig Veda, authentic versions? Why do you need at all? Whatever Srila Prabhupada gave us, that is more than sufficient to go back to Godhead. And when you go back to Godhead, there is no point of any other scriptures. So with these things, whatever Srila Prabhupada is given, we can go back to Godhead. So why do you need? कर्मण्यवाधिकारस्ते मा फलेषु कदाचन मकर्मफलहेतुर्मते संगस्त्वकर्मणि. You have a right to perform your prescribed duty, but you are not entitled to the fruits of action. So this is detached work. Never consider yourselves the cause of the results of your activities, and never be detached, never be attached to not doing your duty. This is also very important. Never be attached to not doing your duty. So sometimes people give excuse that I am on transcendental level, I don't want to uh, do my prescribed duties. So that is also one kind of attachment to laziness, not performing my duty. So a person who is perfectly situated in yoga will not have any attachment to any specific kind of work and will not have any attachment to not doing work. So like in the third chapter, this thing will be clarified. So Krishna will give example of Janak Maharaj, who is a pure devotee and who is a perfect yogi. So he is on such a platform that there is no prescribed duty for him, but still he is doing prescribed duty to teach others. So Janak Maharaj is not uh, attached to inactivity. Janak Maharaj is not attached to inactivity. So attachment to inactivity also we should be careful of. We should reject that. So many people use this verse, काम करते जाओ फल की चिंता मत करो. So this is the famous verse, but they don't know the other 699 verses, 699 and a half, because they just quote these two lines, means half verses, right? So then comes, now Krishna says a very important thing, Yogasthav kuru karmani sangyam takta dhananjaya siddha siddha samo bhutva samattam yoga uchyate. So you perform your prescribed duty equipoised, abandoning all attachment or success or failure. Such equanimity is called yoga. You should not be attached to doing a specific kind of work. You should not be attached to inactivity. You have to do work without attachment. Arjuna was thinking that I want to get rid of the reactions of the work or karma phal. I want to get rid of karma phal. So what should I do? Arjuna's decision was, let me quit karma only. If I do not do any activity, then I will not get any reaction. But this philosophy is wrong. In the third chapter, Krishna will clarify. This philosophy is wrong. If you think that if you do not work, you will not get any reactions of the work, this philosophy is incorrect. Because anyway, if you do not do your prescribed duty, you will do sense gratification. Because it is the nature of the soul that it has to be engaged in some activity. If you do not do your prescribed work, like if you say that I am a student, I will not study, then what will you do? You will see do something nonsense in smartphone, or you will do any, you will waste your time like that, and you have to suffer for that later, because inactivity is not possible for a soul. So Krishna is telling, I am not telling you to abandon karma or activity, just yogastav kuru karmani, do activity kuru karmani, but what should you reject? Sangam tyakta, reject the attachment. Attachment is the thing which I am telling you to give up. You do not give up your activities. दुरेना हि अवरम कर्म बुद्धि योग धनंजय बुद्धौ शरणमन्विच्छ कृपणा फल हेतव. So here these things are going on from 38 to 53. This section will come. So we have covered these verses. Then the next section will come that Arjuna will ask that who is such a person? You are telling about so many things, and is there any person who can exhibit all these qualities? Then that section is Sthita Pragya, and that is our last section. Okay, let us continue. Hmm. दुरे न हि वरम कर्म बुद्धि योग धनंजय बुद्धौ शरणमन्विच्छ कृपाना फल हेतव. O Dhananjay, keep all abominable activities far distanced by devotional service, and in that consciousness surrender unto the Lord. Those who want to enjoy the fruits of their work are misers. So you should not you should not work for the fruits of the work. That is an activity like a miser. Miser means kripana. That is not a Brahminical activity. Brahmana means he works for Krishna. Okay. बुद्धि युक्त जता ही जहातिह उभे सुकृत दुष्कृते तस्मद् योगाय जुज्वस्व योगा कर्मसु कौशलम. This is very important for us, the students of IIT Kharagpur. So this is our motto, right? Yoga karmasu kausalam. A man engaged in devotional service rids himself of both good and bad reactions even in this life. Therefore, strive for yoga, which is the art of all work. Yoga is the art of all work. And what is yoga? Yoga means doing it for Krishna. Doing everything for Krishna is yoga. And one who does everything for himself is a miser, and he has to suffer the reactions. कर्मजं बुद्धियुक्तो हि फलं त्यक्ता मनीषिणा जन्मबन्ध विनिर्मुक्ता पदं गच्छन् अनामयम्. By thus engaging in devotional service to the Lord, great sages or devotees free themselves from results of work in the material world. In this way, they become free from the cycle of birth and death and attain the state beyond all miseries. So, by such practices, great sages or devotees who work for Krishna free themselves from the result of work and they go back to Godhead. So, here also, Krishna does not explicitly speak about devotional service, but Prabhupada is over merciful. Yeah, Samashritayai Padapallava Plavam. If you take the shelter of the lotus feet of Lord Krishna, then Bhavam Buddhir Vatsapadam Parampadam. This whole ocean-like material existence will become like water held in the hoofprint of a calf. Very small. Gospad. Jadate mohakalilam buddhir vyatitarishyati tadagantash nirvedam shrotavyasya shrutasya cha. When your intelligence has passed out of the dense forest of delusion, you shall become indifferent to all that has been heard and all that is to be heard. So, if one is free from illusion, then he does not need any further knowledge. And he knows everything, self realized. Yeah, nothing more is there for him to learn. In the 7th chapter also Krishna says, Jnanam teham sa vijnanam idam bhakshami asheshatah jajgatva neha bhuyanad gatva bam vashishyate. By knowing that, there will be nothing more for you left to know. So one who is self-realized and one who has learned this art of yoga, art of doing action, there is nothing more for that person to learn. Shruti vipratipannyate yada sthasya nischala samadho achala buddhish tada yogam abhavshasi. When your mind is no longer disturbed by flowery language of the Vedas, again Krishna criticizing, and when it remains fixed in the trance of self-realization, then you will have attained the divine consciousness. So, by transcending the Vedas and being situated in the yoga, that is the divine consciousness. So, thus Krishna has explained that how to work in Buddhi Yoga. Now, Arjuna asks, Arjuna Uvacha Sthita Pragyashaka Bhasha Samadhistasya Keshava Sthitadhi Kim Prabhasheta Kimashita Vrajeta Kim. Arjuna said, "O Krishna, what are the symptoms of one whose consciousness is thus merged in transcendence?" So you are speaking about how to become like that person. I understood how to become, but now I am asking you, what are the symptoms of a person who has attained such level? How can I understand that uh, whoever I see in this world, how can I understand that this person is in transcendence? So what are the symptoms? How does he speak? What is his language? How does he see it? How does he work? So Krishna will explain. Sri Bhagavan Uvacha Prajahati Jada Kaman Sarvan Partho Manogatan Atmannevatmana Tushta Sthita Praggastaduchyate. So there is a specific term named Sthita Pragya. Pragya means intelligence. Sthita means steady. A person is steady intelligence who has known the essence of the scriptures, like working for Krishna. So now Krishna is giving what are the symptoms of Sthita Pragya. O Partha, when man gives up all varieties of desire for sense gratification, this is the first symptom, which arises from material concoction. When his mind, thus purified, finds satisfaction in the self alone, then he is said to be in pure transcendental consciousness. So, thus his mind is purified and finds satisfaction in the self. He does not need any kind of external material things to become happy. He is happy inside. His happiness is internal. It is not dependent on other external things. Next symptom, dukkesvanudvigna mana sukeshu vigata spriha vitaraga bhaya krodha sthita dhir muniruchyate. One who is not disturbed in mind even amidst the threefold miseries or elated when there is happiness. Generally, for an ordinary person, what happens? If there is something very extraordinary, very unexpected, and very joyful, he is carried away by happiness and he forgets his duties. And when something happens, goes wrong, we become morose and disheartened, and then also we cannot perform our prescribed duties. But one who is a Sthitadhir Muni or Sthita Pragga, so he is Dukkheshu Anudvigna and Sukheshu Bighataspriya. In happiness also he is not too much elated, and in miseries also he is stable. He is not broken down, and he is free from attachment, fear, and anger. Such a person is called a sage of steady mind, or Sthitadhir Muni or Sthita Pragya. Jasarvatrana Vishanehas Tattat Prapya Shubhashubham Navinandati Nadvesti Tasya Pragya Pratishthitam. In the material world, one who is unaffected by whatever good or evil he may obtain, neither praising it nor despising it, firmly fixed in perfect knowledge. So, whatever good or evil may come, he is not influenced by that. He sees the hand of God in everything. In difficult condition, also, he thinks that this is the mercy of the Supreme Lord so that I can remember him more. And if something good comes, he does not take the credit. He gives the credit to the Supreme Lord. Such a person is in perfect knowledge. And Srila Prabhupada, in every purport he is writing, a Krishna conscious person obviously will have all these qualities. So if you are Krishna conscious, you are by default Sthita Pragya. Yada samharate chayam kurma agniva sarvasa indriyanindriyabdebhyas tasya pragya pratishtita. One who is able to withdraw his senses from sense object, as the tortoise draws its limbs within the cell, is firmly fixed in perfect consciousness. So, like a tortoise, it has cell and it can withdraw the senses or hands and legs inside that cell. So, similarly, a Krishna conscious person or a devotee, he will not engage his senses in sense objects. He will only use his senses for the service of Krishna, and when there is no service, he will just withdraw the senses. He will not expose the senses to enjoy sense objects. He will not indulge in sense gratification. Vishaya vinivartante niraha rasadehina raso varjam rasopyasya param drishtva nivartate. Though the embodied soul may be restricted from sense enjoyment, the taste for sense object remains. But seizing such engagements by experiencing a higher taste, he is fixed in consciousness. So we can artificially try to restrict our senses from sense objects, but that artificial endeavor is not going to be successful. So what we need? We need to have some higher taste of Krishna consciousness. So if we have the higher taste of Krishna consciousness, then automatically all this lower taste of sense gratification we can avoid. Yatato hi api kvanteya purushasya vipaschita indriyani pramathini haranti prasabam mana. The senses are so strong and impetus, O Arjuna, that they forcibly carry away the mind even of a man of discrimination who is endeavoring to control them. So here we see that if a person is trying to control the senses, for such person also the senses may distract him. The senses may forcibly carry them away because this urge for sense gratification is very difficult and the mind is very much restless. This is very means nearly impossible to control this mind. Arjuna is saying in the 6th chapter, Chanchal hami mana Krishna pramati valabhaddadam tasyaham nigraham manne vayurevasu duskaram. I can control the wind, but I cannot control my mind. So that is why the Ashtanga Yoga, which is mainly controlling the mind and the senses, is very difficult to practice in this Kali Yuga. And on the other hand, for a devotee, the senses are very easily controlled because of the principle Rishikena Rishikesha Sevanam Bhakti Ruchyate. When we utilize our senses or Rishika in the service of the Rishika Isha or Krishna, then automatically the senses are controlled. Like Ambarish Maharaj, Sabai Mana Krishna Padara Vindayar Vacham Si Vaikunta Gunanu Varnane Karo Harer Mandira Marjana Dishu Shutim Chakara Chuta Satkathodaya Mukunda Lingale Darsane Disho Tadvitta Gatta Sparshenga Sangamam Granam Chatatpada Saroja Sorave Srimatulashra Rasanam Tadarpite Padav Harer Shat Padanu Sarpane Shiro Rishikesha Padavi Vandane Kamam Chadasya Natu Kama Kamaya Yathottama Shloka Janashraya Rati. So like that, Ambarish Maharaj is engaging all his senses in the service of the Lord. Sabai Mana Krishna Padar in the mind and contemplate about the pastimes and qualities of the Supreme Lord. Vacham si Vaikunta Gunanu Varnane. By speech, he is glorifying the Vaikunta. He is glorifying Lord and his abode, his pastimes. And by legs, he is coming to temple. By hand, he is doing services for the Lord. By nose, he is taking the fragrance of the tulasi flower, tulasi leaves and flowers offered to Krishna. So like that, engaging all our senses in the service of Krishna, then automatically the senses are controlled. So for a bhakti yogi, this process is very. So for a person who is in Krishna consciousness, this is very easy. So yeah, the verse of Yamunacharya is very important in this regard. जदवधि मम चेत कृष्ण पदारविन्दे नव नवरसधामानि उद्यतं रन्तुमाशित् तदवति वतनारिसङ्गमे स्मर्यमाने भवति मुखविकारे सुष्ठु निष्ठीवनं च. Since my mind has been engaged in the service of the lotus feet of Lord Krishna, and I have been enjoying an ever new transcendental humor, whenever I think of sex life with women, my face at once turns from it and I spit at the thought. So for a person who has tasted the nectarian mellow of Krishna consciousness, all these lower tastes he can easily reject. Tani sarvani samyamya yukta asita matpara vasehi jashendriyani tasya pragya pratisthita. One who restrains his senses, keeping them under full control and fixes his consciousness upon me is known as a man of steady intelligence. So here you can see Savaimana Krishna Padaravinda, like the full verse. धायतो विषयान् पुंसा संगस्तेषूपजायते संगत् संजयते कामः कामत् क्रोधो विजायते. So now Krishna has talked about a person who has full control over the senses. Now if we does not have full control, then what will happen? Gradually we will fall down. Gradual stages of fall down. Dhayato vishayan pumsa sangastesu upajayate. By contemplating on the sense objects, sanga or attachment is generated. Sangat sanjayate kama. From attachment, kama or that lust is generated, and kamat krodho vijayate. From lust, anger is generated. While contemplating on the object of senses, a person develops attachment for them. From attachment, lust develops. From lust, anger arises. And from anger, क्रोधद भवति सम्मोहः सम्मोहात् स्मृति विभ्रमः स्मृतिभ्रंशात् बुद्धिनाशो बुद्धिनाशात् प्रणश्यति. क्रोधद भवति what? Sammoha, illusion, delusion, and from delusion, bewilderment of the memory, smriti bhamshat, and from smriti bhamshat, when memory is bewildered, buddhi nasho, or intelligence is lost, and buddhi nashat, when intelligence is lost, pranashati, fall down again into this material pool. So these are the gradual stages of fall down. One should be very careful in restricting the senses and the mind by engaging them in the service of the Supreme Lord. रागद्वेषा विमुक्तैस्तु विषयानिन्द्रियश्चरन् आत्मवश्यैर्विधेयात्मा प्रसादमादिगच्छति. But a person free from all attachment and aversion is able to control his senses through regulative principles of freedom can obtain complete mercy of the Lord. With the regulative principles of Bhakti Yoga and surrender to Krishna, one can be free from attachment and aversion, and he can be able to control his senses. प्रसादे सर्वदुःखानां हनिरश्योपजायते प्रसन्ना चेतसो ह्याशु बुद्धि पर्यावतिष्ठते. For one, the satisfied in Krishna consciousness, the threefold miseries of material existence no longer exist. In such satisfied consciousness, one's intelligence is soon well established. So, if one is in Krishna consciousness, will be free from the threefold miseries, and his intelligence will be well established, or he will become sthita pragya. So all these things are practically possible if you are becoming a devotee. Otherwise, these are not possible. Nasti buddhira yuktasya na yuktasya cha bhavanam na cha bhavanaya ta shantir asantasya kuta sukham. So although Krishna is not explicitly mentioning about devotional service in these initial chapters, but all these qualities which Krishna is speaking is not possible to cultivate without devotional service. So that is why, that is also one of the reason Prabhupada is giving devotional service or Krishna consciousness these terms. One who is not connected with the Supreme in Krishna consciousness can have neither transcendental intelligence nor a steady mind, without which there is no possibility of peace. How can there be happiness without peace? So to cultivate this transcendental intelligence and steady mind, one has to be in Krishna consciousness. Without that, there will be no peace and happiness. इंद्रियाणां हि च रतं यन्मनोनुविद्यते तदस्य हरति प्रज्ञं वायुर्नाभम् इवं वशी. As a strong wind sweeps away a boat on the water, even one of the roaming senses on which the mind focuses can carry away man's intelligence. So we can see how much it is difficult. If you have controlled other senses and one senses is you cannot control, then that one sense is enough to carry you away. So this is extremely difficult. Without the mercy of the Supreme Lord, without becoming a devotee, it is not possible. So that is why there is one verse in Srimad Bhagavatam. Jasyasti bhaktir bhagavati yakinchana sarver gunes tatra samasate sura harau avaktasya kuto mahadguna manarathena sati dhavato bahim. If you are not a devotee and you are having many good qualities, what is the value of that quality? Because that quality has no value, because your uncontrolled senses and mind will carry you away, and you will use your that quality and talent in some sinful activity. If you are not a devotee of the Lord, then all the qualities have no value. Tasmad yasya mahabaho निर्गृहीत्यानि सर्वशा indriyanindriyathevyastaस्य pragya pratisthita. Therefore, O mighty armed, one whose senses are restrained from their objects is certainly of steady intelligence. Janisa sarvabhutanam tasyam jagrati samyami yasyam jagrati bhutani sanisha pashyato mune. What is night for all beings is the time for awakening for the self-control, and the time of awakening of the all beings is night for the introspective sage. So you can see in material world also the devotees they wake up early in the morning, and materialistic persons they go to sleep at that time maybe. So their cycles are completely different. So they are actually opposite poles. If you are a yogi, you cannot be a sense gratifier. If you are sense gratifying, you cannot be a yogi. So like that. अपूर्यमानामचला प्रतिष्ठां समुद्रमापा प्रविशन्ति यावत् तावत् कामायं प्रविशन्ति सर्वे ससन्तिमप्नोति न कामकामी. A person who is not disturbed by the incessant flow of desires that enter like rivers into the ocean, which is never being filled but is always still, can alone achieve peace, and not the man who strives to satisfy such desires. So Krishna uses one analogy of the ocean to describe such sthita pragya. So sthita pragya is like a ocean. Many rivers are coming into that ocean, but that ocean is standstill. It is not agitated by the water coming. So similarly, a person who is sthita pragya, who is in Krishna consciousness, that person, although his consciousness is considered to an ocean, although there are different streams of material desires coming in this material world, he is also roaming and he can see many objects of sense gratification. Like we can see many advertisements and many things which may allure us. But a person who is in Krishna consciousness is like an ocean. Even if there are so many streams of material desires, he is not affected by them. Vihaya kaman ya sarvan pumam charati nispriham nirmano nirahankara sasanti madigachati. A person who has given up all desires for sense gratification, who lives free from desires, who has given up all sense of proprietorship and is devoid of false ego, he can alone attain peace. So, one who has to give up all desire for sense gratification, that is possible by taking up Krishna consciousness. And the only desire then is to satisfy Krishna. And all sense of proprietorship, that is also not there in a devotee, because a devotee thinks everything belongs to Krishna. Ishavasya idam sarvam. Ishavasya consciousness. And devoid of false ego, he does not think I am this body. And he does not work for his sense gratification. So all these qualities is developed for a devotee or a sthita pragya. And then such a person attains peace. This is the last slok. Esha brahmistiti partha nainam prapta vimuhyati Sitavyashamantakaalepi Brahma Nirvanam Richati. So Arjuna's question was, what is the symptom of a person who is situated in transcendence? So that is Brahmisthiti. So now Bhagavan Krishna is telling that is the way of the spiritual and godly life, after attaining which a man is not bewildered. If one is thus situated, even in at the hour of death, one can enter into the kingdom of God. So this consciousness one has to achieve and one has to maintain till the point of death. Then if one leaves the body, in such consciousness he will be elevated to the spiritual planets. So here Krishna has given us in this second chapter about first Sankhya Yoga, and then in Sankhya Yoga, Sakam Karma Yoga, little portion is discussed, and after this portion of Sankhya Yoga comes Sakam Karma Yoga, means refuting the no enjoyment argument. And after that, it comes Buddhi Yoga, or working with detachment. And then Krishna describes how to work in detachment. More will be discussed in further chapters. And after that, this discussion, Arjuna's question is that is there any person and is there any symptom of persons who has already attained such kind of consciousness? Then Krishna elaborates the qualities of a sthita pragya. So that ends the chapter 2, and we will start chapter 3, and we will try to complete it in the next class. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.